This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association, your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers, right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning broadcast team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Dustin Hoffman.
Good day, everyone, and welcome to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Dustin Hoffman. Today is Thursday, September the 19th, 2024, so glad you could join us. Coming up a little later on the program, we'll talk with Tyler Schau of agmarket.net to give us our closing market recap. But first, we're going to talk with the folks at the Iowa Nitrogen Initiative and Dr. Michael Castellano of Iowa State University. They're looking for partners here in the fall of 2024 and also for the growing season in 2025 to help them do more studies on nitrogen rates across the state. Dr. Castellanos talks to us a little bit more about it right now. And we're talking today on behalf of the Iowa Nitrogen Initiative. First of all, for maybe some of those guests who aren't, or who are watching, I should say, viewers that maybe aren't familiar with what the Iowa Nitrogen Initiative is, why don't you give us a little background on what it is?
Yeah, the Iowa Nitrogen Initiative is a public-private partnership among Iowa's farmers and Iowa State University to improve information about nitrogen for decision-making on the farm. Really what the Iowa Nitrogen Initiative does is use the latest advances in precision agriculture variable rate nitrogen application technology to allow farmers to conduct scientifically robust experiments without any hassle, without slowing them down on their fields every year. This year, we conducted 470 of these in partnership with more than 70 farmers across the state of Iowa. The data we collect from these experiments, Dustin, they allow us to scale research from maybe a dozen university research farms every year to those hundreds of fields, and that allows us to use the latest advances in data sciences like machine learning, artificial intelligence, and biophysical process modeling to make better decisions about nitrogen management for the benefit of productivity, profitability, and environmental performance.
Now, I understand you're looking for some more partners for this fall and coming up for the 25 growing season. Tell us about what you're looking for and what these farmers need to know about becoming partners of this program.
Yeah, Dustin. So we're always looking for new farmers to participate in the Iowa Nitrogen Initiative, learn more about nitrogen management on their farm, and help us learn more about nitrogen management across the state. So we can have the data here to improve decision-making, have the data to show the public what a challenge nitrogen management is. To get involved, all you have to do is have the capability to variable rate nitrogen on your farm. If you have that capability, we'll send you a prescription after you send us field boundaries, and all we need back is the as-applied nitrogen data, the yield data at the end of the year, and then we provide a report on what the outcomes were. A question we often get, Dustin, is, well, what else do I need to do other than just variable rate that nitrogen according to the prescription that goes in my applicator? And the answer is nothing. We don't ask anybody to do anything else. In fact, getting the variability from operation to operation across the state, it's a huge strength for our approaches to better understand nitrogen.
So how do you go about gathering that data then throughout the partnership, without, like you said, the farmers not having to really do anything else from beyond that first point?
Yeah, well, the real critical things the farmer has to do is they've got to send us the field boundaries. They've got to take the prescription that we write for the nitrogen. It's about 2.5 acres total we're asking them to adjust nitrogen rates on. Typically, we have 5 nitrogen rates by 5 replicate individual blocks in the field. The total of that is about 2.5 acres. We like to go from 0 to 250 pounds or so of nitrogen per acre, sometimes more. Sometimes we start a little higher than 0. Those zeros are real important, though, for us to understand how much nitrogen we're getting from the soil organic matter every year, which is really a critical input to our model. So farmer puts that prescription into their applicator. They send us the as applied data back, send us the yield data back. We do have to get in touch with the farmers to get some management data, right? So we need data like the hybrid they're planting, the planting date, and a few other things like soil management, crop residue management. We have a list of questions that we ask them. If they can't answer them all, that's okay. We just try and get as much information as possible, because the more information we have about a trial, the more accurate our models will be.
To catch the full interview with Dr. Mike Castellanos, you can click on the little link that's popping up right now or below in the description. We'll also have that for you coming up on Iowa Ag Matters and Weekend Ag Matters coming up this weekend. We're going to take a quick break here from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soy Checkoff. When we come back, the closing market recap. This is Ag Matters PM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net. We're back on Ag Matters PM, and it's time to get the closing market recap. Talking right now with Tyler Schau of agmarket.net. Tyler, what are the markets doing here on this Thursday?
Tough day for the grain markets. Started the morning off with some pretty disappointing export sales reports, especially on wheat, well below where we'd been at for the last couple of weeks on the export sales, and just kind of started that trend lower. Matif wheat's also been trading lower, so kind of following some overseas markets and just set the tone for the general bearish or red day in the grain markets.
I know the macroeconomy was watching those basis cuts coming from the Fed. What impact does that have on things like the grain markets?
I would say that the expectations of those cuts probably led to some of the rally that we've seen over the last couple of weeks, or driving that price higher and keeping some support on the market. In theory, lower interest rates is typically bullish grains or bullish commodities. But at the end of the day, we lowered them a half a basis point, but we're already, we were at 5.3%, I think, at the Fed funds rate. So now we're just a skosh under 5%. Still, when you take a big step back and look where we've been the last 10 years, still very high interest rates in comparison to just 4 years ago.
Now, also, we've been hearing some reports that with the river levels being lower heading into the harvest, with the Corn Belt getting underway, how much is that going to cause a problem for the markets? How much are they watching that right now to see how those affect exports?
Paying close attention. We did get some news that there were some soybeans sold in China overnight. This hasn't been reported by the USDA in any flash sale, just some rumors we're hearing. Most of the beans that got sold out of the Gulf are actually out of the Texas Gulf, which typically tells you there's barge freight is getting high, and that means they're railing it into the Texas Gulf and taking advantage of some of those freight spreads. So we'll have to see how that continues to play. But yeah, at the end of the day, river levels low. Usually you'll see the impact of basis first, and then it'll roll into the futures market as we move down the road.
All right, switching gears to livestock. We know the cattle on feed report coming out. What are we looking at for what in that crystal ball for what you guys are seeing?
Well, I would say the general feel of what analysts are expecting on the cattle on feed report is, there's parts of it that are somewhat bullish, there are parts of it somewhat bearish. I would call it kind of a neutral expectations from that front. Evidently, some traders wanted to front run it today, and we saw some massive buying come into the feeder calf market. Now, some of that took out some targets that probably triggered some sell stops, some buy stops, and push this thing higher. And you've got your October board up $3.80 here. So there was, we put in a potential, looks now like more than likely a double bottom, posting that second leg of the double bottom on the 9th of September. And usually on a chart basis, if we're going to call it a double bottom, you got to take out the high in between those 2 points. And we finally did that today. And when we did, it kind of took off to the higher side.
What about on the hog side of the marketplace? What did we see there?
Not a lot. Hogs had a big reversal here this week. Went down, took out what I would have said was some support here earlier this or later last week, and looked like maybe hogs were open to kind of continue their dive lower, and an impressive return Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It carried on again today. Didn't see big moves, but we're back above the 200-day moving average, which is always a positive sign in any market.
All right, if folks want to talk and look at what kind of things they need to be thinking about with their marketing plans, they're also looking at 2025 grain marketing already. What's the best way for them to get in touch, Tyler?
Look us up, agmarket.net. There's a contact page. You can find a broker in your area or call 844-424-6758.
All right. Well, Tyler, we thank you so much for the insight. We'll talk to you again real soon.
You bet. Take care, guys.
And that again was Tyler Schau of agmarket.net. Let's go ahead and take a look at the closing market numbers here on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network market screen. At the close, December corn down 7 at 4.05 3/4. Soybeans down 3/4 cent for November, 10.13 1/4. Soy meal up $2 at $3.19.90 per ton. Soy oil 76 cents higher at $41.75. Chicago wheat down 10 1/4 at $5.65 1/2. Kansas wheat down 14 at $5.64 1/2. Minneapolis spring wheat down 8 3/4 at $6.07 3/4, and oats up 9 1/4 at $3.64 1/2. Live cattle were trading $1.67 higher at the close, $179.97. Feeders up $3.82. That's at $243.77. Lean hogs up 20 cents at $82.25. Pork cutouts unchanged, $91.55. And Class 3 milk 47 cents higher at $24.07. And that's been a check of the closing market recap, and that brings us to the end of today's show. You can find all our content online at iowaagnet.com. Follow us on Facebook, X, and on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to hit the bell and also subscribe, and you'll be notified each time we put out a new video project. Also, don't forget about the 3 times a day free market podcast with analysis sent to your mobile device in the openings, middays, and closings of the marketing day. You can find out more at iowaagnet.com. Don't forget to check out the full interview with Dr. Mike Castellano of Iowa State University in the link in the description. From the iAron Studios in Des Moines, I'm Dustin Huffman. For Mark Magnuson, Andy Peterson, and Riley Smith, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.